This is Capsule on liveandlimbo.com. My name is Sean Chin.
And I am Andreas. This is an outlook into film, music, pop culture, and more.
Brilliant. So, Andreas, you are
Yes.
our film editor and music reviewer, so this was all for you. And Dakota, Arsenault, you're back. How's it going?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I am great. And returning is Sarah Ricks, our newly christened music editor. How are you?
Hello. Good, thanks. Tired. But
Very
good.
tired. So
Tired
this is
from that
unique.
christening.
Yeah. This is unique because all four of us did CMW last month. Three of us, me, Andreas, and Dakota, did North by Northeast, or we'll just say NXNE for short. And
Yep.
but you, Sarah, you actually were working for the festival.
Yeah, I've been with them for about 4 years now, so it's been nice to see them grow, and this festival was a lot of fun.
And this is interesting, so we'll get some perspective from your side of it as well.
You're like the special features on a DVD set where it's like the behind the scenes. And all that.
Exactly.
I'm not going to reveal too many secrets, but yeah.
Oh, come on.
All right, so this is a big one right here. Okay, so right off the bat, who has attended this festival?
I have.
How many times, Dakota?
Last year I covered it as much as I did this year, and then casually, mostly from like the free outdoor shows for at least 3 or 4 other years, like
Okay.
seeing Devo and Flaming Lips and
Oh, wow.
some other big bands several years ago, De La Soul.
Okay, I've been doing it since 2009. That's when Live and Limbo started. And Sarah, how long have you been going there for?
This-
Even as a fan?
This would have been my 5th year.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, so we're pretty much even there. And
Yeah, I've been
Andreas,
doing it for 2 weeks, so yeah, I'm pretty close.
really, this was your first one?
This is the very first.
That was your
Wow.
first CMW too.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow, you're such a virgin. Well, not anymore, I guess.
Well, I'm not, whoa! I'm not anymore. You can stop that fantasy right there. No, I mean, I
He's
used
a
to go
pro
to,
now.
Oh yeah, I'm a professional. No, I used to go to like a lot of concerts. The only festivals I kind of went to before this was when I was predominantly like a metalhead in high school. So that's Mayhem and
Yeah.
Taste of Chaos, stuff like that. Stuff which I kind of regret now. But those are the only things that I ever kind of really went to. I would only go to specifically individual concerts, right?
Yeah.
But I'm starting to largely regret that because CMW was great, and now, well, parts of NXNE were brilliant, like some of the best stuff that I've been to. So
Yeah, and then so we'll talk about that very soon. So Dakota and Sarah, since you've been here before, how did you feel this year compared to previous ones? Sarah first.
I think it was a bigger scale this year. Like, things felt bigger. I know, like, even looking at the press coverage of it right now, we have people like The Guardian covering it. And I know, like, people from Pitchfork were up. So it feels like it was on a bigger scale. And I don't know. It also feels like it went by really, really quickly, but the days were really, really long. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
I'm surprised it's already over, I guess. And
was that
some
because
of that,
it was 20 years old that all of this
Uh,
was big, or?
we have a new festival director, so I think he had a big influence on how the festival is going right now.
Oh, okay.
And also, yeah, it's our 20th anniversary, so
I felt like it went by a lot quicker too for some reason.
I don't know if that's because it was a 10-day festival maybe this year. So instead of just immediately being like, it's a festival, it's on, it was kind of like, here's the build up.
Yeah, there was a big build up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had like the films and then comedy and then arts and then the music one.
Yep, I actually
and
watched those films.
interested.
For me, I definitely feel like it seemed a lot bigger for 2 different reasons. One, I found that it was kind of harder, especially Saturday night, to get into the venues because it seemed like every venue had a pretty big name, like I tried getting into Tattoo where Future Islands and Mac DeMarco were playing, but that was literally at capacity. Or, Lee's Palace had Mets, which was also crazy, and Adelaide Hall had Run the Jewels, and Horseshoe had Joel Plaskett. It just seemed like every single venue had a pretty big name as far as the festival goes, which made for a much larger turnout. It seemed like there was crazy lineups for everywhere, which, it's great to see that, but, when you want to get into the shows, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And then the other thing that I noticed, which I kind of felt was bigger, was I saw North by Northeast actually mentioned on several like American blogs. None that I can think of off the top of my head, but like just ones talking about, oh, okay, these are the big festivals this summer. You know, here's who's headlining at Lollapalooza and Coachella and Bonnaroo. Oh, and by the way, North by Northeast, you guys should go check this out. I know it's up in Canada, but they've got some great bands that are playing. So it was kind of interesting, and made me a little bit proud that Toronto's getting the respect it deserves, because it really is a world class music city.
Oh, I like that, Dakota. That was very nice.
Like it's true, because
Yeah, I agree.
anytime you see a band that when they do their tours, they hit up L.A., New York, Chicago, Toronto, like. Yeah. Those 4 cities are a must for every single major tour. And I think we're finally getting the city as a whole getting the respect it deserves from the American media that's saying, hey, you can't ignore Toronto anymore. They get everyone as big, if not bigger.
I love that. Toronto's awesome.
It is awesome.
We all agree here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
nice.
Complaints.
All right, so Andreas, quickly, because you did the film part of the festival too.
Right.
So briefly, how was that for you?
Interesting. It was predominantly documentaries, so because I want to splurge over one film in particular, but I want to briefly go over 2 more. I saw Ride on the Dance Floor, which is about City Gardens, which is a venue in New Jersey, I believe. Oh, I hope I'm right, because I hope I learned something from it. And the guy who owned the place, named Randy Now, basically helped jumpstart the careers of Black Flag and other bands, I guess. Pixies was briefly mentioned, but a lot of bands that were like a lot more obscure and heavy, like I guess the Displacements and the Stooges and stuff, would come to this place, and it was just like a bunch of collections of stories. So it was interesting, but it wasn't really like, it wasn't too like groundbreaking or anything. But to see people like Henry Rollins and Ian MacKay, or Ian Mackay rather, giving these stories that they had of playing there was interesting. And then the other documentary I saw was one on the band Quiet Riot, which I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's basically the drummer and his story of how the lead singer of Quiet Riot died, and the before and after legacy of the band, and how he had to kind of step up and change it. And I actually met the drummer at the premiere of it, or the Canadian premiere of it, and he was really nice. He signed some stuff for me. But the movie I really want to splurge on is Richard Linklater's newest film, Boyhood, which, if you don't know what it is, it's literally a movie that's being filmed over 12 years. So you see Ethan Hawke and Patricia Arquette aging literally 12 years. They have a daughter and a son. It's focused mostly on the son, though. And you see him go from being an 8-year-old to an 18-year-old in the film. And it's interesting. It's interesting because you see like photos taken on the set of specific things that you saw in the film, and you'll see them later on in the film, and you know that wasn't like photoshopped or anything. That was literally aged. And you see they're playing Halo, for instance, and it looks so dated to us, but back then it probably looked revolutionary. Like, there's no way they could have wanted to make it look dated. It just did.
That game is still awesome.
It is, but like the first one, it doesn't look the same anymore. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Yeah, like it looks, any video game looks dated. It's impossible. It just happens with the graphics, right? But brilliant movie. It comes out next month. I highly suggest people watch it. It's one of the best of the year so far.
And you gave it a 9.4 out of 10, so that's pretty high on your standards.
I did, and pretty much right now it's neck and neck with Under the Skin as my favorite film of the year, with Grand Budapest Hotel obviously close third. But movies need to really kick it into like top gear right now, because these 3 are like way ahead of the pack right now.
That's awesome. All right, so let's get back into, actually before that, so I went to North by Northeast interactive keynote with one of my broadcasting idols, Mark Maron. That was at the Hyatt in downtown, and he's famous for the What the Fuck podcast. Yep. And he's a comedian, and it was insanely great. I fangirled there. I love that so much. I was front row for that. And Sarah, you went too, right? You came with me.
I did. I saw you fangirl. It was very
adorable.
Very fangirly, yes.
And that is a rare sight. And what did you think of Mark?
I thought he did a great job as a keynote speaker. He was very informative, very engaged with his crowd, and he just seemed like a really nice guy. He also did a stand-up set later in the night, like a surprise stand-up set, and I know a lot of people were excited about that.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah. And there were a lot of great speakers this year, I think. Interactive seemed to be doing really well.
Yeah, there was so many great panels too. But so yeah, for Andreas, so since it was all about podcasting, you
Yes.
should have went too. But the
I
three
couldn't.
things that I learned, he said you have to stay consistent, like releasing podcasts. So he does his every Tuesday and Thursday
See,
for like the
what did I
last
tell
5 years.
you?
I know, yeah,
What
but he
did I
does it
tell
full time. So yeah, and then invest in a good mic. And the third thing was, I forgot what the third thing was. Oh yeah, keep doing it. Be persistent.
Isn't
And
it the same thing as being consistent?
no. Well, the consistent part was keep releasing it like on a solid basis, and
But
then
persistence, like moving
like
forward, right?
keep going forward. Don't let like low numbers get you down or anything like that.
I think we'd be doing all three of those things, even
I
with
know.
others' help.
So
The
just
affirmation
keep going.
Nice, so
So he's been doing his show for like 5 years now. So we're 6 months in. So far so good.
so far so good. What do you guys think? We're doing all right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sean's gonna be the next Mark Maron.
That would be great.
I'm gonna be the next.
You're not angry enough.
teller, I
I'm not-
guess.
I need to get more angry. Yes. Okay. So back to the music part. So we'll go with Dakota first. First, what was a sticky situation that you were in?
Sticky situation. The fact that I don't have the ability to clone myself.
Wasn't that Sarah's last for CMW?
Sure was.
And it just was. There's so many shows on that I wanted to see, and part of the joy of the festival is kind of stumbling onto something you may have never heard of before. But I felt this year it seemed like every time slot there was a band that I was at least aware of, or kind of had some big buzz behind it. So I felt like I had a bit more of a rigid schedule, which, it's nice to be able to go, okay, I know I'm going from Lee's Palace to Tattoo to Horseshoe to wherever. But at the same time, you lose the fun of it, of just stumbling onto something you've never heard of and being like, whoa, who are these guys, sort of
Right.
thing.
They probably should add one more day and like spread out the headliners just a little more.
That's great.
Yeah, and and I think I don't know, good, bad, I don't know. The fact that bands will sometimes play 2, 3, 4 slots over the whole week is great for them, but still, I'm looking at it and be like, yeah, I could go catch that Mac DeMarco set right now, but I could see him tomorrow, and then the next day comes up, there's someone else. I'll see him the next day, and it's packed. I can't get it.
Well, the one good thing that they have is that, yeah, everything's squashed together, and a lot of musicians do repeat sets or whatever, but I like the fact that the Wednesday doesn't have a really massive name. It's just local stuff or just smaller bands. I like
they
that.
should
The
do
fact
that. Yeah, they should do that.
They do that. That's
Yeah.
that's the day I interviewed Foxtrot, actually, which should be up very soon, so just wait for that.
Nice. Okay, what
Um,
was a sticky situation for you, Andreas?
For me, so like where I was stuck in a pickle, kind of? Or?
Yeah. Something didn't work out, maybe.
Okay, well, in short, a lot of my complaints are going to come to the Juicy J set. Okay, look, Juicy J isn't my thing.
No,
I
that's
get
not a
he's-
complaint part. This is the sticky situation part.
But you'll see.
Oh, okay.
You'll see where I go with this. It applies to many things. He's not my thing. He's a lot of other people's things. I just didn't really enjoy the set at all. Sticky situation. He didn't allow people in the photo pit,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and my photos were on par with his lyrics. Not very good.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
he
I
won
think-
an Oscar though.
Yeah, so.
He did, but well, okay, maybe for that like one song, maybe it's decent. I didn't like it, but whatever. They saw
Did
something
he perform "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp"?
live.
Yeah.
I don't remember that actually. He did slop on my knob. He did a
Yeah.
few 3-6 Mafia songs. I don't remember that one for some reason. Maybe he did. I don't know.
I think he was the only one that didn't allow photographers in the pit. Sarah, was that right? Do you recall?
At YDS, yeah.
Yeah, he was the only one. So that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
Sarah, how about you? What is a sticky situation that you ran into? You probably had a lot.
A sticky situation that I don't really know. There's not enough of me, I guess. Like,
Again?
yeah, I really wish I had gone to Vice Island actually, because it sounded amazing. But the idea of going over on a boat and having to stay there on a boat and knowing that I would have been missing a lot of things on the Toronto mainland kind of prevented me from going, but I wish I had gone.
So for
Me
me, a sticky situation was where for the Friday, the St. Vincent one, I got approved to be in the photo pit for everything and a maybe for St. Vincent. I was put on a waiting list, which is nice. They've never done that before at North by Northeast.
Right.
But then, so I had a decision to make. Would I use the photo pit and then get denied for St. Vincent, or should I just hang out with Andreas the entire day and be right at the very front and center? So
It was difficult.
well, very
You were like-
difficult, and that's a sticky situation. So
You're like, what do I pick? Do I want to have to put up with this guy for 5 hours?
and I knew in her set that she would be like staring at you, but that would be later in her performance. So I had to make an active choice, and I chose to hang out with you and be front row for St. Vincent, and it was totally worth it.
Oh my goodness.
I got those eye
fangirl
stares.
over this.
That was such a great performance. Okay, so those were the sticky situations, and we'll go to the top 2 moments. And Dakota, you're up.
Top 2 moments. Rye was absolutely mind-blowing, insane. I was pretty excited for them. They're one of my favorite bands, and like I wasn't too sure what to expect going in. I thought it would just be it's a 2-piece band. I thought it would just be like the singer and then maybe like his producer who is, playing the tracks, not necessarily just pressing play, but like using synths and keyboards and his laptop and all that sort of thing, and it would just be the 2 of them on stage. But I was really gladly mistaken when he had a full band come out. He had a cello player and a violinist, a drummer with a really nice percussion set, and then an organ player, keyboard player, and then a really good bass player. And the lead singer Milos kind of helped out and played some of the instruments with the band at the same time, sort of thing. Like he would be playing the piano at the same time as the keyboard player was, and playing the drums at the same time that the drummer was. And it was just a mind-blowing performance. Like the entire band was, I described it that they were like surgeons. They would be able to start and stop on a dime, and every single note was so clean that you could pick it out, that it was just beautiful. And his voice is amazing.
Did you shoot this show or?
No, unfortunately, no photographers allowed.
So that one too, eh?
I'm so interested now.
You know what? Have you heard the album?
No, I haven't yet.
It's this very like sensual, androgynous R&B sort of thing, and like for the longest time, people didn't know if it was a guy or a girl singing because they don't release any publicity photos. And they don't allow anyone to ever shoot their shows.
Right.
So like they just kind of put it out on the internet. This a few songs. People are like, who are these guys? Is this a guy? Is this a woman? Who is it? Making these really like sexy bedroom music. And they found out that the singer, his name is Milo. She's Canadian. And then this producer, he's from Denmark, who doesn't play with the band.
Right.
And just like very like lush sounding. It's not like, oh, unrequited love, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I've been hurt sort of thing. I've been cheated on. It's very much I'm in love. Like the whole project came about because he met this woman and was falling in love with her. So as he was falling in love with her, he was writing these really gorgeous songs. And now he's married to her.
Oh.
But and she was actually in the audience, so he kept like waving to her and being like, hey, that's my wife. My wife is here. Yay. And like he was really giddy about it. You could tell that like these songs are so passionate to him. It was kind of beautiful to see him live, and especially the fact that she was there too just made it that much more interesting.
Wow, that's pretty romantic.
This is homework for me.
Yeah. And I almost felt like it was a private concert for her, and there just happened to be several other 100 people there.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. And so, I really enjoyed it. I took my girlfriend and she really enjoyed it too. Yeah. But overall, like, I cannot recommend them enough. I know they're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but if you're into like really slow kind of R&B, kind of jazzy sort of thing, Rye, Rhye, amazing.
I'm going to write that down right now.
Was that your second one?
My second one,
Yeah.
The Insanity at ASAP Berg.
Yeah, your photos from that were pretty cool too.
Yeah, I managed to, I got to give props to the people at Tattoo. They were super nice about letting me in. And like, sometimes I feel like at these venues, they're so packed with people and everyone's trying to push their way up and try and get in. and so they can have a very short temperament because, you know, you're the millionth person to say, hey, can I just go in? Like, it's just me sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? To the tattoo staff, they were all very polite and had their composure. And so, you know, I got to respect that. And I'm sure Sarah will tell it later, but she has a funny story about them as well that I was witness for. But A$AP Ferg, well, I like his music. I don't love it, but it was pretty crazy. The crowd was really into it. He's a great showman. He got everyone pumped up. He said, hey, is there any rappers in the crowd? I want a local rapper here.
Wow.
And some guy's like, I am. So he gets up on stage and he's like, are you really a rapper? He's like, no, I just want to get up on stage with you. He's like, get off the stage. Are there any real musicians here? And this guy comes up and he's like, okay, now I'm going to drop a beat. I want you to rap to it. And he's like, okay, sure. So he starts going and he's kind of like going along and Ferg's just pumping the crowd up. And then this guy just kills it. He like does a fantastic job just freestyling to the beat. And afterwards, everyone's going nuts. And Ferg has his arm around him and goes, wow, that was pretty crazy, wasn't it? You know, I'm going to do something I've never done before. Have a second song. And so he dropped the beat again. And the guy does a second song.
Wow.
So it's just kind of cool. So this is like, I don't know who this kid was, but like, you know, in 10 years from now, we're all going to be reading about how what changed his life was A$AP Ferg invited him up on stage and he got to do 2 songs with Ferg sort of thing.
And you got photographic evidence of it.
I do, yeah.
Those are
If you
great
look at
shots.
Photos, yeah.
I'm gonna have
really
to look
cool.
at those.
No,
Sean
but-
and I actually saw Mac DeMarco do a similar thing, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, actually, no. Quickly, both of you greatly improved on your photography, so good job.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you. I think it has to do with the fact that, you know, for 4 days straight, that's all we had to do.
Yeah.
Just make sure they were in focus. Just make sure the lighting was on them, sort of thing.
Exactly.
And we had daylight and nighttime as well, so we really had to be like on our game, just switching settings all the time, right?
I unfortunately didn't do any outdoor shots.
Oh no.
So yeah,
was all
it
indoor
tough
for me.
for you.
Yeah. All indoor with crappy lighting.
You guys still have to learn Lightroom, though. I can't keep editing forever.
I
But
know, I
just
know.
remember, it's all about the white balance and the cropping.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, 2 top moments for you.
For me, I would probably have to go with Future Islands for one of them. I saw their second show at Tattoo, and it was insane. Like, the lineup was insane. And they were fantastic. Probably one of the better bands that I saw during North and Northeast. And you could tell they were really happy to be there. This isn't a highlight, I guess, but I would also say that also applies to Run the Jewels, who I saw at YDS on Sunday. And those 2 guys, they're just the happiest, nicest, biggest sweethearts, and they're also amazing at what they do. And they did such a good job, I thought. And then my second highlight would probably be, I think this year North and Northeast put on some really great secret shows, and I got to see like Spoon at the Horseshoe and Sleigh Bells at Tattoo. Mac DeMarco played a really great secret set, so that was really cool.
That's awesome. Okay, for me, it was St. Vincent, one of them. That was one of the best, like, visually awesome performances that I've ever seen. It's probably on par with the Radiohead show I saw at the Molson Amphitheater. That was really, really great. Yeah, no, like, just the way it was so theatrical, right? Andreas, you were there right beside me.
I was, and yeah, that's one of my 2 moments, I guess, is a combination of Swans and St. Vincent, but I'll let you get to yours first.
Yeah, and then, okay, so quickly, my second one was meeting up with all my other photographer buddies in the pit. I don't get out as often as I should, so I got to see everyone from all the other different blogs, so that was great.
You want to do some shout-outs?
No.
Okay.
There's too many of them. There's too many of them, like Ryan from Tunes in Toronto, or what was it? Yeah, Tunes in TO. Yeah, I think it was that. But see, a lot of the photographers, they ended up shooting for different publications, so.
Right.
Yeah, and so your top 2 moments, Andreas.
Well, my first one is a combination. It's Swans and St. Vincent because as like
that lineup, like that progression.
Yeah, like the contrast between them, because as a whole, that was probably like my favorite pairing of any concert I've ever been to. Because usually you'll find like an opener that's a bit weak, this and that. But the way that Swans musically was just like this out of body experience. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I already told Sean, I'm gonna tell the world now, whoever's listening, I literally almost cried during Swans. And it's embarrassing as hell, but there you have it.
I saw you like you were moving, like your hand and your head. It was all into it.
Yeah, and you saw me the day afterwards at Spoon and Mac DeMarco, and you saw I was pretty still. It's a rare thing for me to get crazy at a concert, and Swans and St. Vincent both had me going ballistic. Swans with just like their ambient drone that was just so emotionally uplifting, like I was ascending. It was crazy. Just it's unreal when people say that Swans are different live. They really are. I can't compare it to any other show that I've been to, possibly My Bloody Valentine because of how loud it is.
So you said they actually did not play like songs per song.
No, when we interviewed Michael Giroux, actually, he said he was going to play some new stuff, and I believe the first two things that they played, aside from like the really long intro, was new stuff, and it sounds amazing. The only things that I can kind of think of are two songs off "To Be Kind" that were changed drastically. Like the example I keep using is "Oxygen," where on album he doesn't say this, but live, excuse my French, he just said get fucked for like 2 minutes straight. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
It was beautiful.
It was awesome.
And then right afterwards, as you said, St. Vincent was like one of the best visual performing people I've ever seen. And it wasn't the lighting, it wasn't the backdrop, it was her acting like an android going mentally.
Well, it was a combination of everything too. Like I don't even know how she like walked like that,
hovered.
Hovered like across the stage for like an hour in heels. You got that, Sarah? She was wearing heels too.
Yeah,
and you trip over like, just normally.
Yeah, I could not do what she does. That's for sure.
And she wasn't even just like hovering around. She was purposely like tripping all over the place, and she didn't actually fall accidentally once. And I don't understand. Like she was falling down the stairs on purpose. She was doing improvised guitar solos, and she nailed every single one of them. Like she was like channeling Jimi Hendrix, Sonic Youth, like Thurston Moore, and Lee Ronaldo. Obviously, she was channeling blues guitar players, jazz, funkadelic, just all sorts of things. Just going, and Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead, just all of these guitar influences in one, and it was incredible. It's crazy how like just out there she is, but at the same time, it's like everything just comes back around in full circle.
And we got treated to like a brand new look too. I think Sarah, you said she just changed it for her London show in Canada, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So we got like a fairly brand new look for her. That was awesome. I love that.
We had like the rundown look of Swans and their musical like desert kind of atmosphere that was perfect. And then we had St. Vincent coming from the future as like this android that's not perfected but is perfectly fine just the way she is, like showing us the future with like all these lights and everything. It was just a great contrast. So that's one. And
it was also really cool. Like I saw her backstage and she was like headbanging to Swans, and that was awesome.
We saw her on the side of the stage, but what was she like in person? You didn't really get a chance to talk to her. You said
I didn't talk. Like, she's so skinny. That's all I really know.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
she's a skinny lady. Yeah, but she's incredible.
Yeah, during Swan, Sean and I kind of saw her drinking wine. She had like a veil or a hood on, and she was going nuts over this new song that Swans had. And even when she came out during her own set, she's like, "I know something we have in common." She had this list of things, and I guess for this set only, because it's the only time they've ever played together, "You're also a fan of fucking Swans," and she was going crazy. Like she snapped out of character for that. She legitimately couldn't believe that she saw Swans like from back there. It was crazy. It was really nice. But yeah, I guess just to keep it brief because I've gone on for too long. The second moment was just Fuck Buttons playing at Adelaide Hall at midnight.
I wish I was there for that.
I know
that was my bad. I read the schedule wrong.
We were supposed to meet up there, but it's cool. Next time they come, we'll go because they're excellent live. It's really loud. It's almost pitch black with just like a projector of their silhouettes created by Connect. I think it was Connect. Either way, I met up with them. Both members of Fuck Buttons. They're really nice. They signed my album, Soul Focus. It was excellent. It was great.
I'm jealous.
Oh yeah. So Sarah, one thing. So when you were in the pit for Swans, you were in there for like the first group, I think, and that was the big intro. How was that? Were you expecting that? That must have been awkward.
It was a little awkward, just like seeing that guy drum for a while. But I mean, it was cool to be that close, just watching it, knowing that something bigger was coming, and like they were building up to something.
Yeah, that took a while, but it came, and we enjoyed it. I loved it. You could feel that power.
It was amazing.
All right, let's get on to oddest moment. Okay, Andreas, what was your oddest moment?
Okay, is this odd as in something that kind of perturbed me, or something
Yes.
that just caught me off guard?
Both.
Okay, something that just caught me off guard, and I've got like nothing against this obviously or anything, but like just when Mac DeMarco invited a fan on stage and they were partying this and that, and the fan asked, "Can I drink your water, Mac?" And he's like, "Yeah, go for it." So he did. 70 threw their bra on stage. They both wore it as like a shared hat.
Luke. That was Luke.
Yeah, Luke. Luke was his new best friend. This guy in like this red Hawaiian shirt with like the skinniest legs, who didn't really know how to dance, I guess, but he lost it. He was having so much fun up there, and
That was fun.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because Luke asked or because Mac noticed it was Pride Week or something, but it wasn't Luke doing this to Mac. Mac leaned in and started to kiss Luke on the lips, and he's got a girlfriend and everything, Mac DeMarco.
He did that. He did that at his secret show tattoo as well. He kissed an audience member, a male audience member.
Oh, that kind of ruins it for me. I thought that was all just like there. Like
He
just
probably
did
does
it.
that at a lot of his shows.
Damn. What can you do?
Still
But
weird, I'm sure, when you see it.
Yeah.
it wasn't really weird. It just caught me off guard. But as for something that
Yeah.
was actually weird, that kind of was offsetting. Let's go again with Juicy J, because he starts off his set saying, "You think I just popped out of the scene? I've been here for 20 years. I worked hard for this." And I was like, you know what? I respect this. This is nice. Maybe I was wrong about this guy. And then just the fact that he would just nonstop just say, "You get high to this shit. You get high to this track." And just like every time he would just say, "You get high to this? You're that Toronto Kush. Yo, your Toronto women are so hot. Yo, that woman just flashed me." This and that is like, just his approach of it. Like, it was so unprofessional. Like, I guess it was weird in a sense because like it was just so informal when he's like the headlining act of like the final day. And it was just, it was just so off-putting. I didn't like it at all.
And you can't win everything.
No.
I guess. So for me, it was on Friday as well. It was seeing Omar Soliman. Is that how you pronounce it?
Suleiman, I think it is.
Soliman. Okay, so
I forgot about that.
Eagles, Omar, Swans, and then St. Vincent. Like, I don't know why. How did he get in that lineup? I'm not sure why he's famous.
You know, he retweeted us, right?
Did he?
Yeah, and he said thank you. He said
shit.
thank you in his native language. Yeah.
Oh.
Can I just say that I saw him at Bonnaroo, and I was basically front row for him, and it was the craziest, most fun dance party I've ever been to.
Okay, well, I admit that it was fun. Like, everyone was into it, and but for a different reason though. Like, I got into it because I thought I was making fun of it. Like, is he a parody thing or what?
Oh, he's
No, he's a legit.
Is he like Psy?
No, he's not. He's been a wedding singer in Syria for years, and
So why is
he never
here
had
then?
any. He didn't have proper recordings of his music. So what he would do is when he was performing at weddings, they would tape it, and then that would be like the wedding present, sort of like, you know, when you get photographs done. Well, the wedding band gives you a tape of the performance of their wedding, and then everyone started bootlegging these wedding tapes. So he has like over 500 albums in Syria because of this. And then the last 4 or 5 years, I was kind of reading up on it. This guy wanted some like really crazy Middle Eastern music because he was like half Persian or something like this. So we went over to Syria and found this guy doing weddings, and he was like, he used to be a farmer and all this crazy stuff. He doesn't really speak English, as I'm sure you learn that pretty quickly. The fact they didn't speak between songs other than thank you.
Yeah.
But like, I think he's for real, and the fact that he seems to be invited to like a lot of these hippie, very westernized sort of festivals and things like that, I have to believe his political ideology probably doesn't resonate with the current Syrian government. Not to get all socio-political here, which I don't know. I guess that gives him some validity.
Yeah. Didn't he do some Bjork remixes or something?
Or
His
Bjork,
name's been attached.
Bjork likes him, so.
Yeah, Bjork, Madonna, someone else I can't remember. There's I think Fortet. There's quite a few like kind of big names that kind of latched onto him.
His album was produced by Fortet.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's it. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, but yeah, I guess yeah, he was like entertaining to watch, but I just don't know why he was like squashed in the middle of that set. So I just found that awkward.
I just found his stage presence a bit off. I know he's in his 60s. He's not used to this. That's why I'm not hard on him. I'm like, he gave it a good show, but at the same time, it was just like he walked back and forth one too many
He
times.
really, I would say he has no stage presence at all. But for
No.
some reason, people still went nuts when I saw him.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, Dakota, oddest moment.
I know you guys didn't see them, but Sarah, did you see Pizza Underground at all?
Oh God.
I sure did twice.
I was at the Horseshoe Tavern set. I went solely because the Pizza Underground's lead singer, I guess, I don't know, member of the band is Macaulay Culkin, famous for acting in Home Alone.
Lee's Palace. You went to Lee's Palace.
Lee's Palace, not Horseshoe. Sorry, yeah, Lee's.
I'm looking at your post now. Yeah.
I went in not expecting very much. The band was recently booed off stage in England for saying that they were disgracing Velvet Underground songs and Lou Reed songs. And that's all they do. They do Velvet Underground songs, but every lyric is changed to be about pizza.
What's wrong with that?
It was just very weird.
They disgraced Nirvana as well when I don't know if they did it with your set.
They
you
did.
Can tell me, They did the Kurt Cobain and past tense thing.
Yep.
Oh my God, I find
the
that
Billy
really
Joel.
off color. Wow.
Oh yeah, but also another weird moment that you told me about was Perfect Pussy.
Yeah, that was also very weird. I forgot about that. I don't know. Maybe Sarah could shed more light on this, but like, I got there thinking it was Speedy Ortiz, but in my defense, the schedule that I had did say that Speedy Ortiz should have been playing at that time, but everyone got pushed forward to make room for the secret performance by Spoon. So I get in, I don't know what time it was, 11 o'clock, let's say, and then 11:05, I get to the front of the crowd. The band had just come out. By about not even 20 after, they were off the stage. What had happened was, I'm guessing the guitarist wasn't getting sound out of his guitar. So he was holding his guitar up and trying to yell at the sound guy, which is at the way far back. If you've ever been at Horseshoe Tavern,
Lee's Palace.
No, that was
Horseshoe.
Horseshoe.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah.
You'll know that like the soundboard and the stage is quite far apart, especially if there's a full crowd there. So he's yelling at the sound guy, saying that he's not getting any sound out of there and nothing's happening. So he's strumming and nothing's going on. And he snapped his guitar, threw it in the audience, and then started to pick up his gear.
Wow.
And then, so as he's picking up his gear, the band keeps playing. Like, they're all like, I can see that they're kind of counseling and being like, hey, what's happening? We're going to keep going. What's going on? Sort of thing. He's picking up his chords and everything like that. And then the other guitarist picks up his gear. And then while the singer is still screaming and the synth player's still playing whatever the noise it was that they were making, the drummer starts picking up his gear too. So everyone is like leaving the stage while there's only two members left on stage, and like their whole set was maybe 20 minutes. It was just very weird and very angry and hostile, and I felt awkward being there at the front.
When Perfect Pussy become big, you're gonna be a part of like their history. You know those videos where it's like you see like Axl Rose leaving the stage and all that. You're gonna be a part of that. You're gonna be like, I was there in Toronto.
I can speak to this bit though, but like that's kind of their shtick. Like that's how they are as a band. When they played South by Southwest, like their guitarist threw his guitar, their bass player threw his bass off a bridge. Like they just do that. Like they normally play really short, like 18-minute sets. And the whole idea is for them to be pissed off for whatever reason. Like, yeah, they were having problems with the sound, and I know someone was talking to them afterwards about it. But they were like, yeah, it was really fun. Like we weren't like pissed off. That's just kind of, it was another show for us.
I thought the guitarist was going to start a fight with someone.
Yeah, I think that's just how they are. Like they're supposed to come off as angry and kind of reckless.
Angry young punks out of the world.
But it, like, obviously the crowd there wasn't there to see Perfect Pussy.
No.
Well, it's like Mac DeMarco. The magic's just been ruined. Thanks. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry to pull back the curtain.
And Sarah, what was your oddest moment?
Probably Wednesday night. I went to go see Kieran J. Callanan, who I think I've covered for Live in Limbo before. and I've seen him. This is my third time seeing him. He was playing the Great Hall. There weren't very many people there, but he's really talented at what he does, but what he does is so very weird. He's just a weird guy. He's a character.
Like,
but
explain.
He's from Australia, and he feeds off audience awkwardness. So the fact that there was maybe 25 people there probably worked to his advantage. And like he's the type of guy who's like, earlier today I went to a printing place and I printed off all these glossy photos of myself. If you'd like to buy one, they're at the merch table or for your bedside table. He's like, wherever you want to put them.
Did you get one?
I did not buy one, but thought about it. He's a character, and he's hilarious. He's a really nice guy. I've met him once, and he puts on an incredible show where you're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like this, but I kind of do. He has one song called I Am the Toddler, which he does a cappella, I guess. And it's the weirdest. Everyone should see it at least once live because it's pretty incredible.
What's his name?
Kieran J. Callanan.
That's a mouthful.
He used to be in a band called the Mercy Arms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So that wraps up the oddest moment section. So, Andreas, how did it feel to be in the photo pit for the first time? And that was your first time for Sleigh Bells that day, right?
My very first photo. Who opened for Danny Brown? Because there were so many. There were people before him. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, let's just go with Danny Brown,
right? Or no,
Sorry?
was that a different show?
Oh, you're right. It was Adonis, and Golden Teacher.
Yes,
you're absolutely right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it was interesting because, like I said before, it was almost like a video game. I didn't say it this way, but I'm saying it now. It's like a video game where you have like these different levels and these things thrown at you. So first of all, I had Adonis. Every band performed differently, so it was interesting. So they were like kind of in their place, rocking out it like in their square little boxes, right? They didn't really move around the stage, and the sun was extremely bright. So I was like, okay, let's work with this. And they came out all right. I was trying to work with the 9-zone grid, get everybody involved, get pictures of everyone. It was all right. It was typical. And then you had Golden Teacher, which I don't know much about. So when you have 4 members on stage and one of them's in drag, you kind of figure, okay, this is everyone, right? Everyone's involved. But then no, like the 2 singers kind of like burst out onto the stage going absolutely crazy. And I said, yikes, okay, I already spent like 30 pictures on just these 4. Hang on a second. So they're active, going all over the place, like striking every single pose. This was like a photo shoot in the, like currently happening. This wasn't a set. They were really good, though. I really liked them. I'm going to check them out, actually. And again, the sun was also really bright, but now it was glaring on the building, so it was making everything just white out. So I was like, okay, let me work with this.
Yeah, I noticed that, too. Like, that building on the left side of the stage was reflecting back. So
yeah, it drowned out the one singer a lot. You probably noticed that, right?
Yep. So, Sarah, you got to be in the pit with Andreas. How did he do?
He did well. I didn't really see him in the pit that much. I guess when you start taking photos, you kind of...
Was he like knocking people over and stuff like that?
You should have stopped doing that. Yeah. You should have stopped getting up on stage. That was just a big no-no, Andreas.
I didn't know where to go. They didn't tell me.
Pit etiquette.
They just said 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then Danny Brown, right? He's a rap artist, so they don't really like do solos or anything, but he's running around on stage as well. That was the best that I had that day because the lighting was perfect. There wasn't a lot of glare.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very photogenic, oddly enough, because he's very eccentric, right? But like, just so many photos came out well. So I was like, which one do I use? The biggest test was Sleigh Bells. They were fantastic with stage presence. They were all over the place, but it was so dim that I didn't know what to do at that point. So a lot of it was experimenting, and I'm glad that some of them came out.
You need more experience, you'll get that. But I think Dakota, you got a lot more practice with the low light stuff this time around.
I did. I kind of knew what I was going in for, considering that my very first time I shot was at the Justin Azuka show, and there was literally no lighting. So that was kind of a bit of an eye opener. And then doing the few other shows that I did before this, it really definitely helped. The whole reason why I wanted to get the camera was for North by Northeast, because I knew in the past, you can have me and a photographer cover the same show, and that's not a problem. But with so many shows, you kind of need your own photographer there doing their own notes and everything. So it wasn't too bad. With shooting ASAP Ferg was pretty easy to do because I was right up front, and he was so energetic and in all the fans' faces, so it wasn't too difficult. The stuff at Massey Hall was fairly decent. Tune Yards was a little dark, but I still like the way they turned out.
No, man, I love your Tune Yards photos. Those are great.
Thank you.
So colorful.
Those are your best, I think.
And Sydney York, you did a good job there too.
Yeah, that was fairly brightly lit. That was at the Rivoli.
Yes, that was my recommendation for you.
Yeah, and it was a good one. They're very quirky. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I liked them. They're kind of cutesy with their little shtick of two girl best friends playing music together and all that sort of thing. But I think it really worked because I think I captured what they were going for in the photos.
That's why we got them on the podcast before. It's all good. I can't stop looking at my St. Vincent photos. I like that.
They are
I have
fantastic.
that problem too, actually, with my own and yours, actually. Just anything St. Vincent related. Not just because she's easy on the eyes, but because...
No, I like what she does with her eyes. Like, just the way, like that robotic stare. I love that.
Even so, like, we actually have a shared story, which we'll give in a second, but you remember every little nuance that she has just looking at a single photograph. She's very animated, even in a still photo. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And Sarah, you're probably editing all your photos still, right?
I haven't looked at them yet.
Oh, you haven't looked at them?
Not yet, no.
See, you're interesting because this time for North by Northeast, you're the content editor for them. And so you have to go out and shoot and then come back and then upload stuff. So you know how I feel, right?
Yeah. Well, there is a team of photographers to do it.
Yeah.
So what I do is kind of supplemental to whatever they do.
That's good.
Yeah.
But like the whole feeling of getting stuff and you have to post it like in a timely manner. So
yeah.
So do they use WordPress or what kind of content management do they use?
They do use WordPress.
Ah, okay. So you'll have no issue with your new role here. And so I like the Pizza Underground actually too, like that whole concept of them. I didn't get to see them though, but
They gave out free pizza.
So campy.
Did they give out free pizza?
Yes,
They
they
did.
did.
Oh, holy
I love them now.
I went to their Squirt Car performance, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, Mio Canada took over a streetcar on Queen Street. And it was like a moving venue where bands performed at the back of it. And you got on at one stop and you just kind of rode along Queen Street with it. It was really cool because like you'd look at it at the street and people would like be looking at you being like, what is happening on that streetcar? So that was fun. But they actually had to stop the streetcar to get all the pizza on board.
Oh, my God.
It was really funny. It was like a pizza delivery to a streetcar. And it was great.
I wish I saw that, actually. Now I kind of regret not wanting to see them just for
and
that.
thanks for plugging Mio too. That's cool.
Sponsors.
See, one thing that I was worried about was when I found out that Samsung was sponsoring the St. Vincent show. Like I thought there was going to be like gigantic.
Sean.
What? I texted Sarah too. I'm like, are there going to be like gigantic Samsung Galaxies in the background?
I'm so glad there were.
No, they were on the side. That was bad too. But like, I thought they were going to be like directly right behind St. Vincent or something.
St. Vincent's haircut was done by Samsung
Oh
team.
my God. But
That's why it's all wired like that.
Oh well. And then they wanted everyone to hashtag Samsung.
That's why I had a problem. The hashtag thing, that's where I lost it. I was like, I hate hashtagging. You hate Samsung? I hate hashtagging. We almost started a riot.
They were doing that because they put up a new giant video screen at Young Dundas Square. I don't know if you guys noticed it. It's like on top of the Forever 21. So they were like, it was good because you could see the St. Vincent performance pretty much from anywhere because they were just putting it up there immediately. Yeah.
They did that with every set, didn't they?
No, the big billboard that Samsung put up was just for St. Vincent.
Yeah.
Well, oh, damn, really? I didn't even notice that. Which one? I might be thinking of a different one then, because a lot of them covered like Juicy J and Spoon when they were playing.
Yeah, there were smaller screens throughout the square, but the big, huge one that's at the top of the Forever 21.
Oh, that one.
St. Vincent's night. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get you now. Actually, speaking of St. Vincent, Sean, you captured it on film, or photograph rather, but so you're lucky, but I'm not so much. The fact that we were front row, she actually looked at us a few times.
Yeah, I got the eye stares like directly right into my lens. That was
Did
great.
you get her number?
No, I did not.
I
Sean,
got the number on the CD.
did you feel bad that when the show started, it said, "Please don't digitally capture this performance"? And
I
then
felt
you were
really
in the front row?
guilty.
Wait, what? Did they say that?
They
Yeah.
did say that, John. I looked at you, remember? I was like, oh, damn, what do we do?
Oh, I did not.
You were really caught up in the moment.
I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, at the
Oh.
very beginning, it was like a robotic voice that was like, this is like the future or whatever. We don't allow digital recordings. Please just enjoy the show kind of thing.
Oh, whoops.
Like playing on the theme of digital witness, right? Where we're all stuck in a technological daze kind of thing. It was
Oh.
playing off that, but...
Well,
Not to give you a guilt trip or anything, Sean.
it's too late. Hey, I think it was awesome though because I got a good like slight promo thing for North by Northeast because the featured image of St. Vincent is like right in front of the NX part of it. So
Yep, there you go.
you wouldn't get that in the first 3 songs because she had to walk up on that stage thing on the stairs, the pink stairs.
I got the one of her falling down the stairs. Have you had a chance to look at them yet or no?
Yes, those are pretty good too.
Oh, thank you.
Wide angle shots, but mine were like telephoto zoomed in. So yeah.
I'm going to get some gear, don't worry.
So this festival was great, but there were some flaws, I guess, along the way too. So
Yeah.
some other publications posted it to like Chart Attack. They had an article called NXNE losing touch with the Toronto music scene, and it was pretty much making what that band called Paint or something. They made like a short podcast talking about the radius clause. So that issue is actually solved because the day before the last day, I think CMW and North by Northeast, they said there's no more radius clause. Basically, this was something that said you can, if you're playing the festival, you can't play anywhere else for 45 days.
Yep.
And this kind of conveniently, I don't know if they had it before, but it kind of conveniently coincided with CMW moving a month later, so it would be closer to the festival. So this prevented bands from doing both. So that got cleared up now, but because they had that at the beginning, it kind of left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And so another thing I thought that was interesting was that they approved media pit access on a per band basis. So I think they probably should just do like the whole day, I guess, at a time.
It's probably people like Juicy J, who was specific, not to single him out again, he's the only example I could think of, who specifically didn't want to be shot, but then other people on the same lineup who said, oh yeah, we're down.
Yeah, but
It's
if they tell you that specifically at the beginning, then...
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
They also limited media passes to other publications. I guess they wanted to maintain the quality, I guess, integrity of it. Sarah, do you have any input on that?
Not really.
No? Oh.
To be devil's advocate here, every single other festival in the world usually does have a radius clause.
Do they?
Yeah, it's not something unusual by any means. It's a way for festivals to protect their brands. The unfortunate thing is, it's meant for the headliners mostly. So any mid to big tier act, it's so that you won't see them beforehand and go, well, I could have seen St. Vincent. I'll see St. Vincent at this festival for $10 cheaper. That way I don't have to see it at North by Northeast if she was at a paid venue sort of thing.
Yeah, business-wise, it makes sense, I guess.
But the problem was it's the small tier bands, the local bands that kind of were the only ones that kind of were screwed out of stuff. I knew a band, Birds of Bellwoods, that had to withdraw because they played a charity show 38 days before the festival.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
So because they're local, you're probably playing, they're doing a show at the Dakota, they're doing a show at the Horseshoe, they're doing a show at wherever, where it's like a lot of the really small venues where, you do the Toronto circuit every few weeks sort of thing. Those are really the only ones where it kind of hindered. And I think that's why they resolved it, because that's where the bad press was coming from. Not because, you only get to see St. Vincent here. You're going to have to wait another month and a half to see St. Vincent, when either way, she probably wasn't coming back for a month and a half.
No, I'm glad that they resolved that even before the festival concluded. So that was really good for them, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, everyone wins. So yeah.
And Sean, you also mentioned how people were having a bit of problems with the fact that it's kind of not paying attention to the Toronto scene, I guess.
Yeah.
yes and no. Like we did have a bunch of Toronto bands. I think like 48% of them were from Toronto. But also like I went to the Why NXNE Sucks panel to hear what people were saying.
I should have went to that.
And that was a concern, but someone else also mentioned that it is like a transitional period for North by Northeast. Like they are trying to attract international attention, which I guess is why they've grown out a little bit. And yeah, it felt like not that they weren't supporting the Toronto scene, just that they were trying to test out ways of doing different things. And I guess the Radies class kind of tied into that. They found that it didn't really work, so they got rid of it. But yeah, I think it is a festival in transition. It is 20 years old, and they're trying to expand it out and make Toronto like a destination that people want to come to see North and Northeast. You know?
I got that feeling too.
Yeah, did they complain about that at CMW? Because you have MIA as the first headlining act.
I don't think they
right?
had one.
What, like a panel?
No, like a radius clause.
No, not a radius clause, like the whole like Toronto scene kind of thing. Like, oh, why is it like branching out to an international artist kind of thing? Did anyone complain about that at CMW when it's called Canadian Music Week?
No, I don't think so. I think because CMW had so much bad press in the past, I think like CMW greatly improved like organizational wise. So I think
I heard a few things, but like it was more just kind of in passing, nothing like a blog kind of lashing out at them. It was more just being like, well, those guys aren't Canadian. But you know, the way I look at it is Canadian Music Week is there to celebrate Canadian talent and the Canadian music scene, which means bringing international people because they want to play in Toronto, because they want to put Canada on the map.
Exactly.
Having MIA play for Canadian Music Week isn't because she isn't Canadian. It's because it's a big player and we can hold that and bring people here. And we're celebrating the fact that, you know, it was originally supposed to be at Yonge and Dundas Square. So it's celebrating our huge outdoor venue. But then she moved to Tattoo, and it's like, now we're going to celebrate our great club scene that we have.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing as NXNE then. Like, I don't see what the big problem is.
I have no problem with having international people. In fact, I encourage it. At the same time, we did have plenty of big-name Canadians played, which was great for them.
Yeah. Well, I think it was more like kind of on the political level, because I don't know if you guys know, like I go back in this scene a little while, and so like CMW has always been like the smaller festival, and it always had like bad rep for organization and like media stuff going on. But then, so I guess people weren't expecting too much from them, but then they did a really good job. So that really impressed me. And then at North by Northeast has always been great. So I guess this kind of made it lower a little bit, but they resolved it. So it's fine.
All right,
and I guess also like to speak on the Toronto thing from a personal perspective, like I love Toronto bands and I'll go see them, but when I'm looking at schedules, I'm also like, oh, who's not here very often? Like, who is my only chance to go see? So you have to think about like who people are actually going to go see. And venues were really busy for bands that were coming from out of town. So, and it's not to say like we didn't showcase Toronto talent. Like we had Odonis play YDS. So
Mac DeMarco.
Yeah, Mac DeMarco. Like a bunch of Canadian
Joel
talent.
Plaskett had a big set at Horseshoe.
There's definitely Canadian talent if you need to find Canadian talent.
Yeah.
So it's up to the person making their schedule to decide what they want to go see.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I believe that there is room for both festivals. Like they both offer very specific, separate things. While, you know, the lineup can be interchangeable, what they're celebrating is different. And I appreciate what they both have to offer.
Absolutely.
So, Sarah, is there anything that you guys learned from this year that you might change next year?
I don't know. I think everyone's still kind of like, oh, it just happened. Blah. Yeah. So I know I know the festival was definitely paying attention to what people were saying about it. And I'm sure there's going to be a big debrief afterwards where like, we have to change this for this year. Like this went really well. So it'll happen.
It's true though. Like this is the 20th year. I know they're in the transition. It's very difficult for a festival that wants to make that international landmark shift. So then, you got to balance things out. So hopefully they got enough feedback from that to make it work next year and forwards on. I was going to ask this question. Which festival do you think won? North by Northeast or CMW? But I'm not going to do that because I think both of them won. Like both of them did an excellent job. And the only winner here is all the
Us.
music lovers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Well,
the
you can
music.
ask anyways.
Yeah. I love both. Any last words, Dakota?
I agree with you. Like fans of music and good music are the real winners here. If you live in Toronto, you could literally see any kind of genre of music over these past 4 days. And if you want to go back to Canadian Music Week, it's the exact same thing. Where no matter what you like, whether it's soft, hard, rock, hip hop, jazz, world music, it had it all. And you know what? I'm impressed by that. The fact that I can say, I want to see these bands, this style of music, and there is a venue, and there's a venue full of people that feel the exact same way as me, and I'm always proud to know that different styles of music will get traction here. That's just a big thing for me, is the fact that people are open and appreciative to different styles of music, because in the end, who cares what kind of music you like? If it makes you happy, good. That's all that matters.
I love
Exactly.
that. That's great. Sarah, last words?
It was a fun year. I had a great year at the festival this year, and I think the people who work for it probably don't get the credit that they deserve. Like my colleagues work very hard to make sure everything goes off, and I just want to congratulate them on a fun year and a good one.
Yeah, congrats to all the North by Northeast team and publicity people for accommodating everyone, all the festival goers and the media as well.
Absolutely.
Good job. Bravo.
But before we wrap up, I just want to say one more thing. It was very nice at the end of when I saw Army Girls. Carmen, the lead singer, said, "Everyone knows what it's like to volunteer. It's not a glamorous job. Please give them a round of applause, because without the volunteers, I wouldn't be up on this stage right now." So it's kind of really nice to say that. And I don't know if we have time for this, but Sarah, if you would oblige, I would love it if you tell the story about what happened trying to get into Future Islands.
Okay.
Just because I found that was funny.
Absolutely. So I got there. It was jam packed. Like a lot of people, I think, tried to get in after going to see Rye for a bit. And the lineup was down the block, maybe like 200 people in line. And like I saw people I knew who were like, "What's the likelihood we get in?" And I'm like, "Well, honestly, 0. Like people aren't going to leave. People are here to see Future Islands." And to be fair, we did have them on a bigger stage 2 days earlier. Mm-hmm. I understand not everyone wanted to go see them, but yeah, it was so busy. So I was standing at the front trying to get in because I had my staff pass, and I was supposed to be in there to live tweet it. And there was a guy next to me standing there who was like, "Yo, bouncer, dude, I need to like talk to Future Islands. Like I know them. I'm like roommates with them in Baltimore. Like I have their number, but they don't have a Canadian texting plan. Like go get them for me so I can hook up with them." And the bouncer was like, "No, like if you knew them, you would have a way to get in touch with them." And the guy next to me was just being like a total jerk about it. He was like, "You're like totally lying. Like it's not even busy in there, blah, blah, blah. Like you're having a power trip or whatever," to the bouncer. And the bouncer was like, "Excuse me?" And the guy just like kept running his mouth off about how like he had to be in there to see Future Islands. And the bouncer like looked at me and was like, "You see this girl? She hasn't said one word. She hasn't said a single thing. And I'm going to let her in."
Oh.
And the guy next to me was just like, that just shut him up immediately. And so then I got in just because he was being such a jerk about it.
And you were nice and shy and humble about it.
I didn't say a single thing into the bouncer. I was just waiting for my turn because I knew like if someone left, then I'd get to go in. So yeah.
That's a beautiful parable that we were just told. Thank you for that.
It was really funny. I was glad that I got to witness that. I was literally right behind Sarah when this all went down, and this guy, like, Sarah isn't doing it justice. He was really running his mouth, and like at first he tried to being like sympathetic about it and be like, "Hey, I know you're just doing your job," and this sort of thing. But then he like turned hostile towards him and was just kind of like insulting him. And literally within 30 seconds, he turned to Sarah and says, "All right, you're in." I would have been probably the second or third person after that to be allowed in, but like no one was coming out because the people that were there for Future Islands were probably all staying for Mac DeMarco too. Like, not that they're similar in styles, but I'm sure fans of one is fan of the other.
They kind of got like that relaxing kind of tone to them. They're not similar at all, you're right, but like I can definitely see similarities.
yeah, like they're at least in the same stratosphere as far as genres go.
Yeah,
so
the
there's
same
no
emotional
way I was
yeah.
getting in.
Yeah.
And the lineup was insane. And I just gotta say, Sarah, I loved all your tweets. I was retweeting all of them just because they were just so funny the way you were going on about how it is packed and you should be nice to bouncers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a funny moment.
All right. That's a great story to end like a parable and lesson to end off the podcast with.
Be nice to your bouncers.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, Dakota, where can all of our listeners find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DGAPA, DGAPA, or you can find me on Tumblr at tumblr.com/DGAPA.
No, I think it's DGAPA, then you do .tumblr.
Is it? DGAPA.tumblr.com?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
that's
how they
what
do
it
it.
is. You know what? It's Tumblr with that same set of initials.
We want to send the people the
DGAPA.
right way, yeah.
Just promote both. It's either or.
Yeah, either one. Andreas, where can they find you? They know where to
You
find
can find me at Andreas Babs. And before I proceed, I just wanted to again reiterate thanks to all of the volunteers and all the people involved because, yeah, you had your gripes, Sean, and I partially agree with some of them. But first of all, like the actual performances for the most part were excellent, and how seamless it was when they arrived on time for the most part. Everything
I
was
agree.
just smooth.
It was
Smoothly
smooth.
run. It
Yeah.
was beautiful, and you don't see that a lot. You see so many bands just not show up for a really long time. So again, thanks to everybody involved, including you, Sarah. Just everybody involved with NXNE did a pretty damn good job, except for like the one or two mistakes. So yeah.
And so I just wanted to quickly say, I think for the most part, the three of us, since we lack Sarah here, I felt like we kind of were not as organized for CMW because for that, Sarah had like the whole list down. Everything was smooth and great for that. This one, I think like we winged it, but it still worked out. So good stuff there. And Sarah, where can all of our listeners find you?
I'm on Twitter at Beets, BEEBEETS. Yeah, Beets. Like the vegetable.
Vegetable, nice. And you don't have a blog yet or a portfolio?
No, I don't have a website I update now.
You need.
I'm actually starting a portfolio. You just reminded me.
You should do that. All of you should have one.
I will do that, Sean. I've been busy.
You said that for like the last year or so.
I know. I keep saying.
I just started creating my Flickr now, actually, like a couple of hours ago. I haven't put anything on it yet, but whenever it's up, it's Deer Hunter Photography on
Deer
Flickr.
what?
Deer Hunter Photography because one shot.
I don't get it.
Dakota
That's
gets
clever.
it. Dakota
That's
gets
clever.
it. Thank you. It took me like an
Slow
hour.
clap.
Okay, you have
Thank
to send me the link and then I'll put it in the show notes. You can follow myself on Twitter at Sean Chin. You can follow this show on Twitter as well at Live in Limbo and use the hashtag Capsule Podcast to join in on the conversation. Please subscribe to this show on iTunes. And as always, you can find the show notes at liveinlimbo.com/capsule. Take care.